We will start right away asking in what way Sweden is eager and ready to participate in resolving this conflict.
First, we think it's very important to show the support for Ukraine, because Ukraine has its right to the territorial integrity, the right to make its own decisions on what path it wants to take for the future, without intervention from any other country. So that is important in itself. We are also participating in the humanitarian aid to the country. And also with implementing the ceasefire, because we believe that it's the best we can do to help the country into a peaceful situation, of course. At the same time being very firm and also discussing within the European Union that we cannot lift sanctions before we have seen a real success for the Minsk agreement. So we can see right now OSCE they can see both positive development but also negative development, which is obvious what has happened during this time. So we have to follow this very close and constantly be prepared to do more to implement the ceasefire.
How possible do you think are the new sanctions, and will Sweden back up, support those sanctions, under which circumstances?
We have expressed earlier that we are prepared we want the EU to prepare for further sanctions if needed. But it's...
If needed, in what way do you mean?
No, if the EU so decides, if the European Union see this is what we need to do, and therefore EU also have to prepare, so you don't have to start thinking if that's the decision. The most likely decision today is to extend the current, and we think that is very important to connect that decision with the Minsk agreement. So those two have the same timetable, because we need to make sure that the Minsk agreement is implemented totally. So we cannot break the sanctions and take away sanctions and reduce sanctions today. We need to make sure that the total Minsk agreement is implemented.
You mentioned today, if I'm not mistaken, that Sweden is ready to support the UN peacekeeping mission. How do you think it's possible with regard to Russia's right to veto? How do you think this mission is possible at all?
No, if it is decided, in principle, yes, of course we support a peacekeeping mission, yes. But it has to be, of course, decided, and we don't know about the possibility for that. And in the meantime, we need to make sure that OSCE has got the best possible possibilities to fulfill its task. So we don't know about if there will be a UN peacekeeping mission. If that is decided, of course, we support it.
With regard to the Nordic and Baltic countries, we can see that there's a raise of awareness of the military threat coming from Russia. Do you think there is some kind of a joint solution to that threat among Nordic and Baltic countries?
Well, first, we as a country do not feel that we are immediately threatened by Russia. But there's, of course, with the tension on the continent, not least what happens in Ukraine, but also other signs that showing that Russia is more aggressive in a way, makes us, of course, even more eager to have a good cooperation. We already have a good cooperation with Finland regarding the defense, the Nordic countries, Nordic Baltic countries, with NATO. We also have a good cooperation. So we have several cooperations, and just to make sure that we can strengthen our ability to defend our country.
So there is something done among Nordic and Baltic states in regard to something like early warning systems, or just being prepared to this kind of threat? And could you be just a little bit more specific? What is done in that regard?
We have just informed the Swedish population that we have increased our cooperation with Finland, for example. And that is something that we constantly have to think about. How do we strengthen our ability to defend the country's borders, because that is something that is one of the most important issues for a government, of course. So it's part of a continuously development of our ability.